to our Department of Agriculture family, our colleagues in the DA Bureau of Agricultural Research, sa ating mga magsasaka at mangingisda, isang magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. Ako po si Cristina S. Estrada from the Knowledge Management and Information Systems Division of the DA Bureau of Agricultural Research, and I will be your host for the online seminar this June. So June is a very busy month for BAR, and last week we actually held one of the major events of the Bureau, which is the third National Agriculture and Fisheries Technology Exhibition in Mandaue City. So we held a myriad of knowledge exchange activities, such as the first ever market talks, the technology transfer, the launch of the Philippine Sustainable Agriculture Initiative, and we also had booths and exhibits promoting our 4D technologies and products of our partner, as well as the seminar series. So may seminar series din po tayo sa NAFTA. But uulitin po natin, magkaka-seminar series pa din po tayo, the usual that we hold online monthly. So today we are also celebrating the National Soil Conservation Month. Kaya ang topic natin today would take its base from soil health and how important it is in mango production. Officially, the title of our seminar is Balanced Fertilization and Pesticide Use plus Rejuvenation Technology on Mango Production. But before we introduce our speaker and formally start the knowledge sharing, the usual reminders po. So one, please comment your location and affiliation para nalalaman natin kung hanggang saan ang naabot ng ating serbisyo sa BAR and specifically our online seminar series. Also, please follow our social media pages. It's facebook.com/DABarOfficial or search nyo lang the Bureau of Agricultural Research. You may follow us on IG as well. It's at DABarOfficial. And also, since yung bagong policy po ng Meta is tinatanggal na nila yung mga live videos in 30 days. So, if you want to rewatch our past episodes, seminar episodes, and other videos that we put up, you can search us and follow us on YouTube. It's Bureau of Agricultural Research or at DABarOfficial as well. So youtube.com/@DABarOfficial. And also, we will be posting an attendance sheet and a feedback form. So dalawa po yan. Attendance sheet would be posted earlier, then yung feedback form just before our session ends. So yung feedback form po, it's only up until 12 noon. You have to answer both. So we will just be posting that on our comment section. Please, tsagain nyo na lang pong hanapin kasi we cannot pin the two. So, tsagain nyo na lang pong hanapin later. And of course, one of the most important things to remember, please, wag po tayong mahiyang magtanong kasi hindi sa lahat ng oras andito ang ating expert. So I will be introducing our speaker na. So our speaker conducted R4D on mango fertilization and pest control, ensuring quality fruits produced in the region for local and international export. She is a licensed professional agriculturist and have led agricultural research and development initiatives in Cagayan Valley for key fruit and plantation crops, including mango, coffee, cacao, citrus, and banana. She currently serves as the Mango Regional Focal Person in Region 2. Let's all welcome Ms. Jessica I. Bernardo. Good morning, Ms. Jess.
Good morning po sa ating lahat. So, thank
Ms.
you.
Jess, I will be giving the floor na po to you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ma'am Cristina, for that very wonderful introduction. So, please allow me to present itong ating pong topic for today. Ayan. So, good morning po sa ating lahat. Ang title po ng ating topic for today is the Balanced Fertilization and Pesticide Use Strategy plus Pruning Technology on Mango Production in Cagayan Valley. So, for our background, our mango production here in Cagayan Valley covers 10,303 hectares, and we contribute 6.84% to the national mango production in the Philippines. So we are top 6 among the mango producers in our country. And yun po, ang ating pong average na production in every hectare is 4.86 metric tons. So medyo malayo po tayo dun sa world average na 7.65 metric tons. And with that, less than 5% din po yung ating napoproduce na export quality mango. And marami po tayong key challenges na kinakaharap sa ating mango production, like the technology gaps dahil marami na pong mga bagong technology but hindi po nakakarating sa ating mga farmers. Low yield and productivity, unstable yung buying price, especially guided po tayo ng law of supply and demand. Climatic factor, napaka po nito sa aming rehiyon dahil po alam niyo naman po ang Cagayan Valley is daanan po kami ng bagyo. At the same time, poor tree management, inadequate fertilization and micronutrient deficiencies, and of course, pests and diseases. At yun pong pinaka pressing issue po natin dito is yung ating sisig fly na nagkaroon na po ng insect resistance dito rin po sa aming lugar. At once na tinamaan po kasi ang ating mango plantation, we can have up to 70% of damage. At ito po yung state ng mango trees natin dito sa Cagayan Valley. Unang-una, unhealthy tree due to acidic and poor soil condition. Kung makikita niyo po yung mga pictures dyan is actual pictures from some mango plantations here in our region. Low response to inducers, fertilizers, and pesticide. Third is profuse flowering but poor fruit set and heavy fruit drop due to pests and diseases and inferior quality of fruits. So, minsan undersized po siya with scab and stem and rot. So, for the project background, ito pong aming ginawa sa Department of Agriculture para po ma-address yung gaps natin sa mango production. Ang DACVRC ay nag-conduct po ng 2 seasons from 2021 to 2023 sa 3 field trials in Isabela with the cooperation of the Bread Cooperative or the Bayan ng Rojas Entrepreneurship and Agriculture Development Cooperative. So this group is a group of mango contractors and producers na yun nga po, lumapit sila sa Department of Agriculture. Sinabi nila, ito po yung problema namin. Gusto po naming ma-address through fertilization and rejuvenation technology nga po. So, ang mga technology po na na-showcase natin dito, kabilang po yung fertilization technology based po sa ating result ng soil analysis, of course, dahil hindi po tayo pwedeng manghula lang ng ating ilalagay bagkus kailangan po natin ng scientific proof kung ano ba yung kailangan nating ilagay, ma-analyze kung ano yung kulang na nutrients dun sa ating lupa. At syempre, bukod sa soil analysis, nag-conduct din po kami previously ng leaf analysis for this specific commodity. And then, of course, yung pruning, and then recommended cultural practices, and then insect resistance management using the recommendation on the Mango Pest Buster Act. So with this, nagkaroon po tayo ng initial result like improved flower panicle length, fruit weight, and sweetness. At nagkaroon tayo ng 33 to 44% increase in yield and the ROI of 328.54%. So these trials also paved the way for the development of an enhanced mango production technology sa atin pong region for further verification under wider range of different climatic condition and for promotion to more stakeholders. That's why we propose this technology po to the ABAR for outscaling with the purpose of maipakalot pa siya to the other provinces in our region. So ito po yung ating technology interventions, particularly sa fertilization versus the farmer practice. Gaya nga po nang nabanggit ko kanina, this was based on the result of the soil analysis in split application and foliar fertilization of calcium, boron, and zinc during flowering and fruiting stage versus the fertilization practice of the farmers which is only done during flowering and fruit stage with the foliar fertilization only. So hindi po sila nag-a-apply sa lupa ng kanila pong fertilizers. And then sa flower inducers, normally ang ginagamit po ng ating mga farmers is the 6 kilograms calcium nitrate in every 200 liters of water, or that equates with 3% solution. So inintroduce din po natin sa kanila yung paggamit ng combination ng 2 kilos na potassium nitrate and 4 kilograms ng calcium nitrate diluted in 200 liters of water or 1 gram po. That equates with 1% ng potassium and 2% ng calcium. So, and then sa paclobutrazol application, hindi po sila gumagamit. Inintroduce din po natin ito sa kanila. And then yung pruning and pest and disease management. So, ito po yung calendar of activities na ginawa natin. Right after harvest, nag-start na po tayo ng pruning, cleaning and construction of canal for fertilization, induced flushing through fertilization nga po, and then application of paclobutrazol for faster maturity ng ating flushes for the off-season production or the regular season, but at least ma-shorten po yung ating waiting period for that. And then fertilization again prior to induction, that is 1 month, para ma-ready lang po natin yung ating trees bago siya mamulaklak. And then flower induction, flower management, and harvesting. So, ito po yung ating technology na introduce sa pruning. Right after harvest, you can already start pruning po, or 1 month after harvest. So, usually, pruning is generally done after harvest and preferably during dry season. It is done to remove undesirable lateral branches, allowing sunlight to penetrate into the central portion of the tree to prevent the growth of fungal diseases and insect pests. For general flushing, better pest and disease control, and of course for higher yield. It also allows the air, light, and spray penetration and distribution. So for the sunlight and air, it serves as antibacterial and antifungal agent po sa ating mango trees. And of course, some pests evade from direct sunlight. So, isa pang advantage po nito is quick drying season, especially kapag yun nga po, nasa fruiting and flowering stage na po siya. Pag masyado po kasing madahon, minsan mahirap pong magpatuyo ng dahon right after na umulan. That's why nagkakaroon po ng mga fungal diseases. So, low moisture, low pest infestation. So, makikita niyo po dun sa picture, ito yung before na stage po, itsura ng ating mangga. And then yung after niya is yung kapag nakapagpuro na tayo. So, evidently, makikita natin yung penetration ng sunlight doon sa ating pong mango tree. And then yung sa third picture naman po is the center pruning na ginawa po din namin. So yun, parang ikakat mo yung nasa pinakang gitna po ng puno. And then, yun po, magpe-penetrate na yung sunlight dun sa ating tree. So, ibig sabihin, mas madali nga po siyang matuyo pagka umulan. And then, ang kagandahan po nito, kung minsan yung flowers din po kasi ng mango, hindi lang nasa labas, nasa loob din po siya ng puno. So, mas better po yung kanyang magiging quality ng yield po natin. At reminders lang po, pag magkakandak po tayo ng pruning, kailangan po isasagad po natin yung pagputol ng branches. Hindi po tayo pwedeng mag-iwan ng mga, kunyari ganito, or ganyan man lang, kasi yun po yung nagiging entry point ng ating pong pests and diseases. So, after pruning, pwede rin po natin siyang pinturahan. Kahit pintura lang po, pure pintura, pwede na po yun. But if we could add fungicide to that, pwede rin naman po. So, ito po yung ating ginawa after Actually, right after harvest, pwede na po tayo mag-collect ng soil sample dahil nga idadala pa po natin to sa ating laboratories for waiting ng kanilang result. So sa pag-collect po ng ating soil sample, kung makikita niyo po yung nasa picture, yung pong pala ay ilulubog lang natin ng parang pa-letter V doon sa ating pong soil, and then kapag nakuha natin yon, yung sa gilid, doon po tayo magkakat ng i-collect natin na soil sample. So, yun po. Anyway, sa mga regional offices naman ay may mga soils laboratory naman po tayo. If ever na hindi po natin alam kung paano mag-collect, we can always tap our DA offices and of course our local government units dahil sila po ay na-train naman po for that particular activity. So in every hectare, 10 samples or 10 butas po randomly yung ating kinukuhanan ng soil sample para maging even or yung ating pong analysis. So para maging represented in a hectare. So ito po yung aming nakuhang recommendation in every province sa amin pong tatlong project sites, but in every province marami pong mga farmer beneficiaries po dyan. So generally sa organic fertilizers is 2 kilograms or 2,000 grams or 2 kilograms ng organic fertilizer applied in per tree. Per tree po itong data na to. So, Yaramilo winner, yung pong 15,920, 556 grams for the Isabela province and 750 grams both for Cagayan and Nueva Vizcaya. At yun naman ating 1620 or the ammonium phosphate, 130 grams in the province of Isabela and 500 grams in Cagayan. At wala po siyang ni-recommend for the province of Nueva Vizcaya. And for muriate of potash, yun po, kailangan po natin to for the sweetness ay 67 grams in every tree sa province of Isabela and 71 grams naman po sa Cagayan. At mas marami po sa Nueva Vizcaya kahit dahil po siguro medyo deficient yung kanilang lupa. So, 547 grams po. And yung ating pong Duofos, sa Nueva Vizcaya lang po siya nakapag-recommend ng 105 grams. So, ito po ay applied in split application. So, this amount are applied to the soil for 1 month after the pruning, and then yun po, same amount is applied 1 month prior to flower induction. Ito po yung mga most critical nutrients for mango production po natin. Unang-una, nitrogen because it is necessary for healthy leaves. It also influences levels of other nutrients and trees' readiness to respond to nitrogen. Dahil nga po nitrate-based yung ating flower inducer, yun po yung kailangan nating chemical for the flower induction. Secondly is the calcium, which is strengthen the cell walls. So maganda po ito especially for the tawag dito. Yun pong sa ating fruit, especially if nata-transport po siya from one place to another. So mas maganda kapag nakapag-apply tayo ng calcium, mas nagiging firm yung kanyang balat. And then it is also important for fruit quality such as firmness, shelf life, and internal quality. So third na important po is the potassium, which is important for fruit quality, skin and flesh color, flavor, and fruit size. So mag-apply po tayo ng potassium if we want to produce a sweet mango. And of course, yung boron. Ito po ay necessary for all new growth such as flushing, flowering, pollination, and fruit development. Ito po, napansin din po namin ang boron is napaka-importante para maiwasan po natin yung fruit drop. So, ito po yung sa cleaning and construction of canal. That's, yung canal po na yan is ginagawa po natin kasi dyan po natin ina-apply yung ating pong fertilizer. Prior to fertilization, weeds under the canopy of mango trees was removed. Ito po ay ginagawa natin rain weeding, pero kung kaya naman po nung ating mga may-ari ng mangga ay dinadamuhan na all throughout the plantation. However, the use of herbicide is highly discouraged. So, as much as possible ay grass cutter po or manual na pagtatabas yung ating ginagawa. And then, the canal of 1 meter radius from the trunk and 15 to 30 centimeters deep was being constructed for fertilizer application. So, ito po yung first fertilization is done 1 month after the pruning or 60 days after the last harvest. So, application of organic fertilizer in inorganic fertilizers based on soil analysis. This is being applied in ring method. So after application of fertilizers, dapat kokoveran din po natin siya ng lupa. And then kung hindi po basa yung lupa, ay dapat mag-irrigate po tayo. Pero kung basa naman po siya, ay okay lang naman po. So, ito po yung inintroduce din natin sa ating mga farmers, yung paggamit ng paclobutrazol. It is being done 1 month after leaf flashing or kapag nagkaroon ng bagong dahon yung ating pong mangga. So, PBZ or the paclobutrazol is considered as one of the most versatile plant growth retardant which restricts vegetative growth and induces flowering in many fruit crops. It inhibits gibberellins by biosynthesis by blocking the conversion of kaurin and carvenoic acid, which inhibits cell elongation and internode extension and ultimately retards plant growth. So ito po yung kanyang role. Ito po ay usually kasi kapag nag-flashing yung ating mango, we wait until 6 to 7 months from that flashing for the leaves to be matured na pwede na po siyang i-induce. But using this chemical or yung ating pong growth retardant ay mare-reduce po yung waiting period natin na 6 to 7 months into 4 months na lang. So kapag bagong flash siya, 1 month after that, nag-apply ka nito, then after 3 months, nagiging matured na po yung kanyang dahon at pwede na po tayong mag-induce. So for the application of PVC, based on the recommendation, 1 month after flushing to enhance shoot maturity. So 4 ml po ng paclobutrazol ang ina-apply po natin in every meter of tree canopy. At diluted po ito sa 5 liters of water. So kung makikita nyo po dun sa picture sa upper right, sinusukat po talaga namin yung tree canopy from the base ng ating pong tree hanggang dun sa kanyang pinakang dulong sanga para sa ganun ay masukat natin kung gaano siya kaluwang. At minumultiply po natin yun ng 4. Yun po yung nagiging composition ng chemical na ilalagay natin. So per tree din po yan. But generally, kung halos pare-pareho naman yung inyong size ng inyong puno, pwede kayong magsukat lang siguro ng 3, then i-average lang yun, then doon na po kayo mag-emanate ng kung ilang chemicals yung ilalagay natin in every puno. Kasi imagine kung may 1,000 ka tapos susukatin mo isa-isa, nahirap din po yun. So yun po. So second fertilization, it is being done 2 months after the paclobutrazol application or 1 month prior to flower induction. So the same amount of inorganic fertilizers is applied to the constructed fertilization canal to condition the tree prior to flower induction. So ito naman po yung ating activities of flower induction 3 months after PVC application. So doon sa mga may experience sa pagmamangga, alam naman po nilang magtingin kung ready na po yung ating mango trees for flower induction. So generally, dapat na-observe natin, deep green na po yung ating mango trees. And then kapag ka-crunch mo yung kanyang leaves, very crunchy po ito. Pagka medyo hindi pa siya malutong, ibig sabihin hindi pa siya ready. So we can wait more time for that to mature before po tayo mag-apply. So, gaya nga ng nabanggit ko kanina, 1% of potassium nitrate plus 2% calcium nitrate. So, if ever na wala po kayong source ng potassium nitrate, okay lang naman po na pure calcium nitrate yung ating ilalagay. But then, yung ibang practice po kasi ng mga farmers dito sa amin, instead na 6 kilograms lang, ginagawa pa po nating 7 to 8 kilos. And then mamaya magrereklamo sila sa amin bakit na brown yung leaves ng kanilang mangga. So, only to find out, sobra po pala yung kanilang ginamit. So, I think 3% is more than enough for that trees to respond to flower inducer. Actually, pagka medyo mainit nga po, pwede na po yung 1.5%. So, magre-range po siya ng 1.5% to 3%. So, at ang ginagawa po ng ating mga farmers dito sa parte ng Nueva Vizcaya, dahil nga po medyo malamig yung kanilang lugar, hindi po nila ina-apply yung 6 kilos agad sa isang sprayan. Bali, ang ginagawa po nila, if mag-i-induce ako ngayon, 3 kilos muna. Then after 1 week, nagpo-follow up spray sila ng 3 kilos ulit. So, we found it na effective naman sa kanilang lugar dahil nga po malamig yung panahon. Comparing dito sa province of Isabela and province of Cagayan na medyo mas mainit po yung aming panahon. So, ang benefit po ng combination ng potassium nitrate and calcium nitrate is earlier flowering response and more profuse flowering, longer flower panicle length, and lesser tendency to re-spray during cold months or in November and December. So thus reducing labor costs. And one important reminder din po pagka calcium nitrate po yung ating ginagamit. Dapat pag nag-i-spray po tayo, continuous po na minimix yung solution doon sa drum. Dahil po calcium nitrate is an oil-based po siya, mahirap po siyang matunaw doon sa ating tawag dito, sa tubig. So, mas maganda po na continuous po tayong naghahalo para sa ganun ay magiging even. Kasi kung minsan pag hindi nahalo yan, yun po yung nagiging isang cause din po kung bakit nasusunog o nagbo-brown yung dahon ng na-sprayan natin. So, syempre, pag nag-brown yon, nagiging inefficient na siya imbes na magagamit pa po siya ng mango trees natin para makapag-photosynthesize na makabigay ng nutrients, mag-supply ng nutrient dun sa flower and fruit po natin. At the same time, ginagawa po namin dito, pagka malamig po yung panahon, especially pag maulan, gumagamit na lang po kami ng spreader sticker. So yung spreader sticker naman po is available in any agricultural supply. So definitely may added cost ka doon, but very minimal lang naman po. Just like our experience in Cauayan City, Isabela, habang nag-spray kami, hindi namin na medyo umulan na pala. But using the flower spreader sticker, at least very good pa rin yung response ng aming pong mango trees. Hindi na po namin kinailangan na magkaroon pa ng second application. So yung mga usual na brand na ginagamit po natin is yung Hostik tsaka po yung APSA. So available naman po yun sa mga agricultural supplies here in our province. So for the flower and fruit management, ito po yung ating mango pesticide spraying program following yung ating pong integrated pest management. So based po dito, during the different stages ng ating flower and fruits, iba-iba rin po yung mga iba-iba rin po yung mga peste na umaatake sa kanya. Just like in ito po yung 0 Daffy hanggang sa 22 Daffy or the panicle elongation, meron po tayong pests such as leaf borer. And hanggang sa flower bloom naman po yung webworm. Yung ating mango leaf hopper naman ay nandyan during 0 flower induction hanggang sa 32 to 41 days after flower induction. Yung thrips naman po ay nandyan during panicle elongation up to fruit development. And the sisig fly starts from the flower bloom until fruit enlargement. At yung fruit fly, dumadating lang po yan during the fruit maturity. So based on those major pests na umaatake dun sa ating mga mangga, doon din po tayo nag-a-apply ng different chemicals. But this particular spray program derived from the Mango Pest Buster application developed by the University of the Philippines. So, pakita ko lang po sa inyo yung application. Ito po siya. So, ang concept po kasi ng insect resistance management, hindi pwedeng, kahit magkaibang brand po kasi yung ginamit natin, but same po siya ng group or ng kanyang mode of action, kung minsan ay nagkakadevelop po ng insect resistance yung ating pong insect pest. Kasi nga po, paulit-ulit, so hindi naman lahat ay, kumbaga, within that group of insect, meron po kasi meron siyang resistance. And then, pag nag-spray ka, siya yung nabuhay, nakiasawa ulit siya sa ibang insekto. So, yun, dumami na sila na resistant sa peste. Itong Mango Pest Buster app po is actually multi-awarded na rin po itong application na to. It is available online. I-search nyo lang po ang Mango Pest Buster app or AgriTips. So ito po ay mayroong annual registration of 1,000 pesos at Gaya nga po nung nakikita nyo, ito po sa Get Your Insecticide Spray Recommendation, start now, sabi niya. So, may mga series of ano po yan, series of mga questions, ilalagay mo kung ano yung mga, kung kailang kalas na nag-spray, ano yung mga ginamit mo na chemicals, ilan yung ginamit mo na chemicals, and then i-analyze na niya. Papakita niya sa'yo kung nag-underdose ka ba, nag-overdose ka ba, and then mag-generate na po siya ng new na recommendation for the following spray season para po maiwasan natin yung insect resistance. So kung makikita nyo po itong insect spray recommendation, ito na po yung na-generate na recommendation. So makikita po natin dyan kung anong days after flower induction tayo pwedeng mag-spray. At pag clinic po natin yung colored na yan, lalabas po kung ano yung specific na chemicals na pwede nating ilagay. Kagaya po nito. So, ito na po yung mga insecticide recommendations na pinapakita niya. So, kapag clinic mo yon, lalabas kung ano yung active ingredient, anong mode of action siya, ano yung mga brands na pwede nating bilhin sa market, at ano po yung dosage na pwede nating gamitin. What's very good in this program is ang mga naka-enroll lang po dito ay yung mga FDA-registered na chemicals for mango. So, at least po we make sure na talagang dumaan sa testing yung mga chemicals na lalabas dito. So, yun po, at least hindi na po tayo mahirapan kung ano ba yung mga chemicals na ilalagay natin. In case na hindi po natin nagustuhan yung atin pong, or wala naman, hindi available dito sa aming lugar, pwede lang po kayong tawag dito, pwede nyo lang pong sabihin or doon sa application na please generate me another option. So, gagawa po siya ng ibang options. And then, ang kagandahan po dito, dahil nakapag-generate ka na ng option and then ginamit mo na yung chemicals na yun for this specific season, naka-record na siya doon sa application. So, definitely, pwede na po siyang mag-generate ulit ng another set of chemicals for the following spray program para sa ganon ay maiwasan nga po yung insect resistance or yung paulit-ulit na paggamit natin ng same mode of action for the chemicals. So ito po yung isang example na na-generate natin ng recommendations for the farmers following yung data na nag-gather po natin sa kanila. So, medyo maliliit lang po, So, nandiyan na po yung mode of action na ilalagay natin, ano yung brand, yung active ingredient, at yung dosage. So, ito po ay binigay din po natin sa ating mga farmer beneficiaries for them to be guided kung ano po yung kanilang i-spray for that specific season. And then, gumamit din po tayo ng foliar fertilization, yung calcium, boron, zinc, and then the boron fertilization po. So the boron fertilizer is applied during bud break or the 10 to 12 days after flower induction, and of course pre-bloom. That is 17 to 18 days after flower induction. Yun namang calcium, boron, and zinc or calcium zinc fertilizer is sprayed at fruit setting or in 30 to 55 Daffy. So itong foliar fertilization na to, usually sinasabay naman na po natin ito dun sa ating pag-spray ng pesticide or fungicide. So, compatible naman po siya with that specific chemicals. So, fruit bagging. So, ang fruit bagging is ini-encourage din po natin kung for the international and of course some local market din po. Ang kagandahan naman kasi pag gumamit po tayo ng bagging materials, lalalasan na yung ating pag-spray ng insecticide. Kasi once na nabalot na po yan, no need naman na po na mag-spray tayo ng pesticides kasi protected naman na po siya. So, bagging material, use desirable paper which does not disintegrate even when wet due to rainfall. So, yun po mga magagandang materials dito is either yung directory na nabibili po natin or may mga nabibili na rin naman na po na bagging material intended for mango talaga na hindi po siya used paper. Kung di talagang manufactured siya for mango bagging. And then, avoid newspapers and other printed paper whose ink is soluble and may taint fruit peel. So, wag daw po tayong gagamit ng margaryo na pwedeng matunaw yung kanyang ink. And then, glycine bags may be used. Telephone directory paper can also be used. So, ito po yung nakita kong maganda talaga, yung telephone directory. And of course, yung isang baging material din po na binibili ng Department of Agriculture na binibigay din po sa ating mga farmers. So, use ladder and other suitable support for baggers. So, using a sheet of suitable paper of ample size, make a triple fold. So, usually may mga nabibili naman na po na ready-made na ganito. I think yung 10,000 pieces is nagre-range po siya ng 4,000 to 5,000 pesos. So, isang sako na po yun. So, marami naman na po siyang mababalot. So, bag the fruits at 55 to 60 days after flower induction. So, ito po yung normal na talagang days dapat. But pagka may kurikong, usually ginagawa nila 45 days or 40 days nagbabalot na po. But ang disadvantage naman po kasi pagka masyado tayong maagang nagbalot, may tendency pa rin po kasi yung ating fruits na malaglag or mag-fall. So, mas maganda kung wala namang kurikong, kahit 55 to 60, at least sigurado po tayo na talagang naka-attach na yung fruits dun sa ating shoots. So, sa harvesting naman po, it is done pag early induction po tayo, so 100 to 30 days after flower induction. Pag late induction naman siya ay 105 to 115 days. Pero usually talagang ginagawa namin dito sa amin is 120 days. Kasi pagka lesser po yun, medyo din po namin, medyo maasim pa po siya. So, kung hindi po kayo sure, pero I know sure naman kayo kung kailan kayo nag-spray, para ma-measure din po natin yung ating maturity ng ating fruits, pwede po tayong kumuha ng 10 sample fruits from the tree. And then ilulubog po natin yung sa isang timbang tubig. Pagka 7 yung lumubog, 3 yung umapaw, pwede na po yan. But kung more than 3 yung umapaw, hindi pa po siya matured. So mag-wait pa po tayo ng another days para po ito ay mag-mature. So may mga maturity indices naman po tayong pwedeng i-observe. Una is flattening of shoulders and fullness of the cheeks. Pag nakita natin busog na yung mangga. Presence of bloom or powdery deposit. Pagka medyo may powder na po siya. At saka yung color niya ay yellow-green color near the pedicel and yellowing of the pulp. So, kapag mag-harvest po tayo ng mangga, kailangan po pababa na ganun. Para sa ganun, hindi po natatanggal yung pedicel nyo or yung parang pinakatangkay doon sa fruit po. Kasi kapag natanggal yon, usually nagiging madagta po siya. And yung dagta na yan, pagka nailagay po sa skin ng ating mango, usually yun po yung nagiging cause na hindi maganda yung kanyang skin. And then, yan. Siyempre, it affects yung ating marketing strategy na rin po. And then, isa pa po, ang tamang panahon ng pag-harvest is from 9 o'clock hanggang 2 p.m. lang po. Kasi pag masyadong maaga po tayo, like 7 or 8, talagang madagta po yung ating fruits. At the same time, syempre pagka medyo moist yung ating tawag dito, yung ating pong area, yun po. So at least makapagpatuyo po muna tayo ng konti ng bunga. So usually yung mga manggero po dito sa amin, pagka umulan, kunyari today, hindi po sila nag-harvest the following day. Mag-aantay pa po sila na maarawan yun maghapon. The next day na po sila mag-harvest. Kasi po, pagka, yun nga, dahil kung masyado siyang mamoist, yun po yung nagiging cause din minsan na nagkakaroon ng anthracnose yung bunga ng ating mangga. Lalo pag hindi po siya na-undergo ng hot water treatment. So for the sorting and packing, sort fruits according to the size and quality. Pick out and remove fruit with mechanical damages, diseases, infestation, latex stain, or yung nadagtaan nga, at yung mga misshapen. So, use packaging materials such as bamboo baskets, lined with newspaper, and plastic crates. So, ito rin po yung isang natutunan ko dun sa amin pong isang mangyero dito sa amin. Kapag ka-plastic crates yan, yung mga binibigay ni DA, kailangan pa rin po palang lagyan ng newspaper sa baba. Otherwise, malalamog po yung mangga natin. So, kailangan po ng newspaper. So, ito po yung size classification ng ating Carabao mango fruits according to the Philippine National Standards. So, pagka extra large siya is more than 350 kilos yung kanyang weight. At extra large naman po is 300 to 349. So, medium naman po is 250 hanggang 299 grams. Yung ating small is 200 to 249. At yung super small is 160 to 199. So, lesser than 160 is considered as pickle na po yung tawag ng ating mga mango farmers. So, iba na po yung presyo nun. Medyo mas mababa na po talaga siya. So, I think 140 up ay kaya pa naman pong i-absorb ng ating pong sa planta for the processing. But definitely, the medium up is for the local and international market na po yan. So, iba rin yung presyo. Mas mahal po talaga yung pang-local kesa yung para sa processing. So, based po dun sa ating field trial na ginawa dito po sa Cauayan City, Isabela, comparing po yung ating farmers practice at yung technology interventions na inintroduce natin sa kanila. So, in every per tree, nagkaroon tayo ng average yield na 330.67 kilograms dun po sa ating BFS mango comparing to the farmer's price of 205.07 kilograms. So, ang average fruit weight po natin dito ay 326.13 sa BFS mango compared to the farmer's practice of 300.50 kilograms. Fruit weight. Grams po dapat yun. I'm sorry, hindi dapat siya cm. So, yun po. And then sa panicle length, 34.39 cm and then versus the 31.67. So, all of these parameters, sinubject po namin siya sa statistical analysis at lumabas po na they are statistically different from each other. So, mas mataas po talaga yung sa atin pong BFS mango. And then for the cost of production, per 1 tree po is 2,433.15 compared to the 1,740.92 pesos per tree sa ating farmers practice dahil nga po nagkaroon tayo ng additional labor cost and of course additional input cost din sa fertilizer and sa pruning activities. So, per hectare, or considering na 49 trees po yung ating production, ay 119,224.35 pesos yung ating production cost compared of that farmer's practice na 85,000. So, for our net income, meron po tayong kita na 7,486.95 compared with that of 4,411.18 pesos in every tree, or 366,860.55 versus 1,047 pesos 0.82. So, total of ROI na or return on investment na 307 sa ating pong BFS Mango versus the 253. So, makikita nyo po na kahit nag-additional cost po tayo, mas malaki pa rin naman po yung bumalik na kita sa atin. So, nagtataka po siguro kayo sa aming computation kung bakit 49 hectares per tree lang yung nilagay natin dyan. So, based po kasi sa ating pong national roadmap, ang average lang po talaga na productive trees in every hectare is 49 trees. Actually, pwede pa naman po yung mag-increase, but yun nga, depende po yun sa response ng ating flowering inducer. So, mostly, 49 lang po talaga yung productive kasi kung minsan hindi naman po siya talaga pare-pareho ng flowering response. But considering na kahit 49 lang yung per hectare, malaki pa rin naman po yung ating return on investment. Okay, so ito naman po yung ating yield na nakuha sa yield and other parameters sa Rizal, Cagayan. Ito naman po yung isang site natin doon. So generally, doon pala sa Isabela kanina, nag-age po ng nasa 15, 20 to 30 years old yung ating pong mango trees. Dito naman po sa Rizal, Cagayan is mostly dito mga more than 30 years hanggang 50, yung iba centuries na din po. So, ang average yield po natin sa BFS mango is 358.77 kilograms per per tree and 268.08 sa farmer's practice. So for our cost of production, per tree po is 2,066 pesos versus the 1,932. So medyo konti lang po yung difference in case of Cagayan. And then per hectare naman po natin na net income is per tree po is 11,931.74 with that of 8,790.36. Actually, medyo malaki po talaga itong kanilang net income dahil doon po sa Isabela kanina, 30 pesos po yung farm gate price during the time na kami po ay nag-harvest. But here in Rizal, Cagayan, I think umabot pa siya ng 40 to 50 pesos ang kanilang farm gate price. Kasi nga po talagang konti yung atin pong harvest dito sa aming lugar ngayong season compared dun sa last season. So, meron po tayong ROI na 594.61% with that of the farmer's practice na 454.79%. Now, pagdating naman po dito sa may Jardine Nueva Vizcaya, medyo mas maliliit po yung kanilang mga mango trees dito, especially yung pong ating mga samples. So, nagkaroon po sila ng yield sa BFS mango na 93.9 with that of the farmer's practice na 62.61 kilograms per tree. So sa cost of production, medyo mas mababa po, 1,248 sa BFS mango at sa farmer's practice is 929.45 pesos. So, pagdating naman po sa net income, ayan, medyo malaki po yung kanilang difference. So, per hectare is 132 pesos compared to the 61,800 pesos sa farmer's practice. So, 215.84% ang ating return of investment sa BFS Mango compared to the 135.77% sa ating pong farmer's practice. So, kung makikita nyo, magkakaiba po talaga yung situation dito sa amin pong different provinces in Cagayan Valley. At yung kanila pong response din ng mga trees natin. So, ito po yung atin pong mga nakandak na field day for the Cauayan City. Partner po natin dito is the Queen Isabella Mango Producers Association. In Rizal, Cagayan is the Ilurusor Mango Growers Association. At sa Jardine Nueva Vizcaya is the Pangkabuhayang Kilusan at Samahan ng mga magsasaka ng Arawas or the Pakisama. So thank you po for listening for this presentation.
Thank you so much, Ms. Jess, for this interesting and comprehensive presentation on soil health and mango production. But before we proceed to our Q&A, again, well, hindi ko na po ata kailangan mag-encourage na magtanong kayo ng questions kasi sobrang daming questions na nilapad kay Ms. Jess. Ngayon po, in terms of attendance sheet po sa feedback form, yung attendance sheet po na post po natin at 10 a.m. Yung feedback form na post at 10:50 a.m. So, pakisagutan na lang. Papakihandle po at pakisagutan. And Ms. Jess, parang gusto ko pa sanang bigyan ka ng idea kung gaano kadami yung or anong demographics ng ating audience for today. Pero I think yung mga pinapakita nating commenters na nag-greet sa atin sa comment section, I think that's more than enough for you to have an idea na sobrang daming sumusubaybay sa atin ngayon. So, yes. Po, sige, magpa-proceed na po tayo sa Q&A. Sige. Ayun. So, we start po muna with mga related sa soil analysis. Napin ko lang po sa tip. So from our Bar family, saan po pwedeng mag-request for soil laboratory analysis sa region, and how often po dapat magpa-analyze ng soil?
Yes. For the soil analysis po, here in Isabela Province, we have the Integrated Soils Laboratory located at Barangay San Felipe, Ilagan City, Isabela. So in the province of Cagayan, we have the Integrated Laboratory located po dun sa Tugigaraw naman po. So if in any case na hindi po kayo hindi niyo po na-access yon, pwede naman po kayo mag-submit ng soil analysis sa ating local government unit at sila po yung magdadala dito sa ating mga laboratories, and of course to follow up din po yung ating results. So generally, ilalagay nyo lang po doon yung details kung gaano kaluwang yung inyong area, anong age ng trees na atin pong ipapa-analyze, and then yun pong inyong details, of course contact details for the staff na mai-inform din po kayo kung available na po yung atin pong soil analysis result. So generally, pagdating naman po sa plantation crops, talaga pong 2 years po yung atin pong validity ng ating soil analysis. So every after 2 years, dapat magpa-analyze na po tayo ulit. But if capable naman po kayo to magpa-test ng soil ninyo, every after harvest, the better po. So, yun po, ma'am. Pagka short duration crops naman po, I think every after harvest or probably 1 year, pwede na po yun.
Okay po. So in terms of sending soil samples, it's either they direct it to the DA offices,
Yes
sa
po.
soil labs ng DA, or magpa-assist po sa ating sa kanilang
Local
local
government unit.
unit.
Yes,
Tapos
pwede.
yung sa plantation crops po, usually around 2 years yung validity ng soil analysis,
Yes.
while yung sa mga mas short term, every after harvest.
Yes po, yes po.
Ito po, may question uli sa soil analysis. So from Sir Norberto Gambol, isang soil sample lang po ba kukunin? Paano daw po pag mas malalim ang root system?
Okay. So soil sample po, at least 10 na samples in every hectare. So paano po mas malalim na root system? So generally naman po, sir, yung sa mango trees natin, yung around the canopy ng ating mango, nandun naman po yung mga active roots na nag-absorb ng atin pong nutrients. That's why, ano pa naman po yun, valid naman po yun. Kahit na malalim yung kanyang taproot, yung mga active na roots naman po na maliliit, ay yung kukuha na natin ng 1 foot, nandun naman po sila, sir. So, hindi naman kailangan maghukay natin ng 1 metro, nakalalim, 1 foot lang po.
Okay, so 1 foot is enough, and we need at least 10 samples for this.
Yes, per hectare.
Ngayon po, parang mas sumadagdag po yung questions. So, let's do fertilizers. Oh, on leaves. Okay. Ano daw po yung ginagamit nyo na pang-analyze ng leaves?
Hindi ko lang po sure sa amin pong integrated laboratory. Sila na po kasi yung nagte-test nun eh. So, sinasamahan lang po namin sila for the collection of of the leaf sample. Basta yung ating pong leaf sample is the matured leaves, hindi po pwede yung young leaves. So, usually ang nakikita rin po nila doon is the NPK na ina-analyze plus yung other micronutrients if ire-request po natin, like the boron or the zinc, and calcium for macronutrients din po. So, sa ILD na rin po yan.
Okay. So as ma'am said, usually NPK ng matured leaves, and kung hindi, we can just request for specific details from the soil labs.
Yes po.
Tapos, ito po, sa disease naman. So from Miss Rosalia Briones, ano po ang dapat gawin sa disease na anthracnose, lalo na po dito sa lugar? Paano daw po matutulungan yung farmers?
Usually, ang anthracnose is meron siya sa dahon at meron din po siya sa fruits. Usually, ang ginagawa po natin diyan talaga is tamang pag-spray ng fungicide. But let's be considerate of the pre-harvest interval. Pag mag-spray po tayo ng fungicide prior to harvesting, dapat tinitignan po natin yan sa packaging ng ating pong fungicide label para sa ganun, magkaroon tayo ng ample time from the application prior to harvesting na natanggal na siya, naalis na siya doon sa fruits kasi kung mag-a-apply tayo too close doon sa ating pong tawag dito sa ating pong harvesting ay medyo delikado po tayo doon, especially kailangan po natin ito for food safety and for the sake na rin po ng ating consumers. So generally, ang kailangan lang po for anthracnose is fungicide. So pwede pong copper base or pwede po yung other recommended fungicide for mango. Nakikita naman po doon sa label kung para saan yung specific na fungicide na yun. Makikita naman natin is pwede siya for anthracnose. Kaya lang pagka copper fungicide po yung ating copper-based fungicide yung ating gagamitin, be careful, hindi po siya pwedeng ihalo na i-spray sa insecticide. Kung mag-spray po tayo ng copper-based, kailangan pure siya na copper-based fungicide na ilalagay po natin sa ating mango trees. Thank you po.
Okay, thank you, Miss Jess. So as Miss Jess said, so it's fungicide for anthracnose, but if it's copper-based, parang we have some limitations to consider on that. And also we have to consider the timing as well if it's close to the fruiting or harvesting stage. But anyway, next question. So, okay.
Ang daming tanong doon sa comments, ma'am.
Opo.
Sabi, paano ba natin?
Hindi ko na siya ma-sort. Baka mahirapan po ako mag-sort out according to Steam kasi padagdag pa din siya ng padagdag. But we also have to limit it because we have to end at the latest at 11:30. Saglit lang. So, from Sir Arnil Hinkis, Alleluia, is pesticide cocktailing or mixing different pesticides generally allowed for farmers? Is it considered a safe practice? And what is the standard of the FEA?
Okay. Actually, sir, napakagandang question ito kasi kami, the Department of Agriculture, prior na kami po ay nakipag-collaborate sa ating pong mga tawag dito, sa ating pong mga mango contractors. We really find out that they do cocktail mixing, especially during the pabaon stage or that before the full bloom stage, usually 23 to 25 days after flower induction. So generally, they mix 3 kinds of insecticide in one spraying. So that's why sabi namin, kaya kayo inaatake ng kurikong, kaya hindi nyo napapatay yung mga insekto dahil tatlo-tatlong insecticide pinaghalo-halo nyo sa isang drum. So akala kasi nila, the more na ilalagay mo is mas nagiging effective or kumbaga malakas yung atin pong insecticide. But that is wrong kasi nga po, nagkakaroon siya ng kumbaga parang napapahina niya yung supposed to be na effectiveness ng isang specific na pesticide lang dapat. At the same time, yan nga dahil maraming mode of action yun, nagkakaroon tayo ng insecticide resistance. So, as of now, wala pa po kasi kaming talagang But now, naturuan na po namin some of our mango contractors talaga na pag mag-spray ka, isang klase lang ng insecticide, isang klase lang ng fungicide, and foliar fertilizer. So, yun po yung isang malaking change na naibigay natin sa ating mga farmers dahil po dito sa project, ay sa ating mga mango contractors dahil po sa sa project na to. At napatunayan po nila na tama po kami at very, very lucky for us this following and etong katatapos na harvesting and fruiting season, talagang hindi po kami tinamaan ng sisig fly. Unlike the previous years na talagang grabe po yung ating pong sisig fly infestation dito. And for the Fertilizer and Pesticide Authority naman po, patuloy naman po yung kanilang campaigning tungkol dito sa mga dito po sa ano na to, sa activities na to. And of course, we also have our integrated laboratory na nagkakandak din po ng pesticide residue analysis, hindi lang po para sa mango but for other fruits din po na kinakampaign din po namin. Fruits and vegetable, kinakampaign din po namin dito sa aming lugar para sa ganun maging aware po yung ating mga farmers and consumer na, ops, ganito, medyo mataas yung inyong MRL or ganito. So, please refrain from using such chemicals para sa atin pong tawag dito, production. Of course, yung patuloy kasi na paggagamit ng cocktail mixing, nakakasira din po talaga yon sa atin pong ecology ng ating plantation because kuminsan hindi na lang yung target pests yung natatamaan, but of course, the beneficial insects din po ay naapektuhan. So, thank you po, Sir Arnil, sa inyong napakagandang question.
Sobrang ganda nga po ng question. And you answered it na as much as possible, let's avoid cocktail mixing kasi nahihirapan tayong makontrol kung alin yung mga maaapekto kanya.
Yes po.
So, from Miss Maria Rosa, why po daw mas konti ang need sa flower induction pag mas mainit?
Opo, tama po ito. Kapag medyo malamig po, talagang sinasagad po natin yung ating dose. But pagka medyo mas mainit, pwede na po yung lesser. Kasi nga po, that has something to do with the physiology ng ating pong mango trees. Yun po kasi yung na-observe din namin eh. Kung minsan kahit naka-full dose ka during pagmalamig, kailangan mo pang magkaroon ng follow-up spray kapag hindi maganda yung kanyang response kasi nga po yung mangga natin, mas gusto niya talagang mag-flower pag mainit. Kapag malamig po, medyo mahirap po talaga siyang pabulaklakin.
Thank you, Ms. Jess. So, more on, parang a huge factor kung bakit mas better na mag-apply tayo ng flower induction pag mas mainit is because it's the preference of the mango tree itself.
Yes po, yes po.
Pero have you checked on other factors po ba? Or so far, yun pa lang yung nakita niyo?
So far, yun pa lang naman po, ma'am, yung na-observe din namin. That's why, kung mapapansin natin, pagka-regular season ng atin pong mango, kahit hindi ka mag-spray, pagka na-expose yan talaga sa araw, kumbaga na drought, and then biglang nag-change ng temperature, yun, nagkukusa na siyang magbulaklak. Basta ang flowering response po normally ng mga, tawag dito, ng mga fruit trees po natin. So, it has something to do with the climate din po, yung kanyang response. Yun nga, kagaya nga nung nabanggit ko kanina sa Nueva Vizcaya, dahil mas malamig nga yung kanilang lugar, ang ginagawa nila doon, ini-split po nila yung 6 kilos sa dalawang application, 3 kilos muna today, then after 1 week, i-spray po sila dahil nga sa tinagal-tagal nilang nagmamangga, yun yung kanilang general observation. Now, which is I think very unique sa kanilang lugar compared dito sa amin kasi talaga nag-full dose kami dito na at minsanan lang. Unless medyo mahina yung response, nagsusundot kami or nag-follow up spray na 50% na lang yung concentration ng ating pong flower inducer.
So, dapat po talaga pinapakiramdaman natin ang response ng ating mga pananim. So, parang somehow we could relate it to why we should consider soil health in application ng kung ano-ano. Kasi dati, I believe farmers practice dati, iniisip lang nila, maglalagay sila ng urea, maglalagay sila ng ganito. Kahit parang ang isip nila is more of, parang more chances of winning ba? But then, hindi nila masyadong chinecheck kung kumusta yung lupa natin, kumusta yung talim natin, kumusta yung surrounding areas. So, I believe we have to see agriculture more as a system of interrelated factors.
Yes po, tama po yun.
So next question from Miss Jess from Miss Maria Rosa. So considering the additional cost of more than 1,000 pesos per tree for the BFS, a farmer needs additional 50K for a hectare. How can we support farmers on the additional capital requirement? And also, ano daw po yung take nila sa dagdag time and effort?
Ayan. Gaya nga po ng pinakita natin kanina, considering na kahit mas mataas po yung ating investment cost, mas mataas naman po yung ating return of investment. Of course, hindi ko lang po medyo masyadong na-highlight, but in terms of quality, talagang mas maganda po pagka napurun yung ating mangga. Kumbaga, mas maraming percentage within that harvest ang for the 250 grams up, ganun. So, mas nababawasan yung mga smaller size. So, that's why mas nagkakaroon tayo ng mas magandang kita dahil nga hindi lang sa quality, hindi lang sa quantity, but also yung quality ng ating produce ay nai-increase na po. So, based on our experience, kapag ka ang farmer, mostly kasi dito sa amin, maraming farmer din naman na sila talaga yung nag-spray, but some areas ay talagang pinapakontrata. So, usually kapag ka nag-pruning at nag-fertilize, yung usual na 60-40 na nagiging kumbaga, arrangement nila is nagiging 70-30 lalo pag nagbalot. But I think this additional 1,000 per tree ay longer yung kanyang magiging effects doon sa ating pong benefit doon sa ating mango tree kasi nga po nakakapagbigay siya sa atin ng mas magandang kita. At the same time, pagka nag-prune ka kasi, pwedeng compared doon sa regular season na yung pong biennial characteristic ng ating mangga, pag nag-spray ka ngayon, kung hindi ka nag-prune, hindi yan nagkaroon ng panibagong dahon, magre-rest yan for 1 year. So, the following year ka na ulit makakapag-produce ng talagang magandang quantity ng kanyang yield. Compared kung nakapag-produce ka ngayon ng maganda and you do pruning, parang na-rejuvenate siya, nagkaroon siya ng mga bagong shoots and then yun nga, naalagaan mo yun through fertilization, yearly siyang magbibigay sa'yo ng magandang quantity and quality ng fruits. Compared of that, hindi ka nagpro-pruning, definitely yung biennial characteristic nga na every after 2 years lang siya talaga nagbibigay ng ganun kumbaga peak or magandang harvest ay maaano natin yun, maiiwasan natin yun. So, yun po, Ma'am Maria Rosa po.
So we hope to encourage farmers to invest a little more time, a little more resources sa ating mango production kasi po mas malaki yung ating returns na makukuha if we put in more time, more effort, and a bit more capital on it.
Yes.
Pero so far po, ma'am, do we have government support for this?
Opo, here in our province, not only in the province but in our region, currently ang mga support po namin ay for the input po. So, nagdi-distribute po ang Department of Agriculture ng mga fertilizers for the soil and of course for the flower